Hey everyone, my name is Tigress. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Welcome back if you've been here before. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, so let's jump into it. I got a Facebook back in 2008, and it's so funny actually how I got on Facebook. My husband and I were living on the East Coast, and I had just found out I was pregnant, and we were trying to find ways to get to the West Coast where my family was that were like cheap and affordable. So we were like looking on rideshare on Craigslist, which at the time was totally a thing. And I know some people are questioning whether that is something you should do pregnant. That's another video. But I was online looking for ride shares, and at that time Facebook had like groups, and so there was like a ride share group, and so I joined so that I could post in that group. No, we did not ever ride share to the West Coast. We ended up greyhounding like normal, and that's how I joined Facebook. So really weird, really random, and I ended up finding, of course, a bunch of friends and all these random people from my childhood on there. So I stayed on there, and then it became a way for our family on the East Coast to stay in touch with us while we were living on the West Coast, because my husband's family is from the East and we're from the West. So we stayed online, and it was very important to me that I stay posting so that they could stay a part of our life, you know, via pictures or just letting them know, you know, our daughter's taking a ballet class or random things like that. So that was way back in 2008, and I basically haven't been off since. We had my daughter in 2009, and I can definitely say, like, after giving birth to her, and I was only 19, so I did not have many friends right at the time that I had her that were pregnant. I did make friends over time, but I didn't know many people who had babies. And so I was really, really alone, and definitely social media was an outlet for me. And I knew back then that it was a problem. I remember my daughter, who is now 13, being a baby and being like, oh my gosh, I was just on and at the time I was using my laptop, I was like on my laptop all day today on Facebook. Like, what was I doing? And like being super weirded out about it then. And you would think I would like learn, but then being a stay-at-home mom and like pursuing stay-at-home careers definitely kept me online. I was constantly trying to make an income from home online, and I also just love social media for many reasons of my personality. Like, it just fits everything that I love, like with photography, beauty, connecting with people. So it's like, it really fuels this deep part of me. But there were also a lot of things in my life that were like pushing me and telling me it was okay to like be using it that often. All these years of using it and trying to gain income from it really kept me on. And it was last year that I decided that like I am not going to try to make a side hustle anymore. I'm not going to try to make money on the side. Like, I'm just done doing that because I've just been doing it for 13 years. Like, I'm done. And so I just want to use my social media for fun. And then it was last January where I was actually able to realize what I needed to do to distance myself. So, you know, I've always known that I needed a break, and I've never taken a break. I know many people who have, they've taken like a year break or a month break and da 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 da, and I just like never have, because I just always thought I would be losing out on those opportunities. So that really is what fueled a lot of my addiction. And like, I want to use that term kind of loosely, even though I don't want to be disrespectful for people who actually have addictions. I grew up around addictions. I know how serious they are. I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but I do think that this is kind of a low-grade addiction, and I think we will find that in science as science progresses. Maybe we won't, but I genuinely really do think that we will. And it really does feel like an addiction, because when I'm doing it, like, I know I'm not supposed to be, I know that I don't want to be, and I will have, like, for years and years and years, like I'm saying, like, since I started, I've had this relationship with it where I'm like using it And some part of myself is saying, like, you need to get off, you need to stop doing this. And I've not been able to listen to that. So I've been trying to get myself off and take a break of social media for so long, even though I've never done it. So it did start affecting my life. I feel like looking back, I feel sad for myself and the times that like I wasn't spending time with my kids. And I do think some of that was social media addiction, and some of it was also like the illusion of opportunity. After again I had that whole year where I was just like, no, I'm not doing this for money, I really got to see what part of that was an addiction. And I can still see that like there were lots of times where I was not spending time with my family, or where I was not getting the chores done that I was needing to get done, where I would be emotional one day. My whole mood would be thrown off because of something that happened on Facebook or something, so it was starting to, there are many ways that it has affected my real life for a long time. And like, admitting that really was the first step. Like, it really was. I had mentally, for me, I had to compare it to a drug or to an addiction for me to take it serious, because I couldn't, all these years of saying it and knowing that I need to step back, I couldn't take it serious enough. But there was something about that verbiage that just made me get it. And again, maybe that's because I grew up with people with addiction. So like that was just a comparison for me that helped me understand. Another way that social media has really been affecting my real life is I get insane FOMO from being online. And since I discovered this in myself, I now hear it from a lot of other people, which honestly is surprising to me, because I genuinely thought like I was the only one. I would go on social media and I get serious like fear of missing out. When I see my friends at like the club, or they're out getting coffee, or like when I just see that my friends are like hanging out together, my heart will seriously start racing and I will get so much anxiety. I start feeling like my friends don't like me, and like I start actually making assumptions and judgments based on this FOMO. And I don't know if it was like turning 32 or something, but something happened like 6 months ago in January where I was just like, I am too old to care this much what other people think about me, and to have this shallow of relationships. I cannot base my relationships upon social media interactions. Like, it just, and it's an illusion too. Like, I know that my friends aren't having the like greatest time blast of their life like I think they are. And even if they are, like, I want to be happy for them. That's healthy, It's not healthy, and it feels really immature to live in that space. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to like, I don't want to be super hard on myself and expect perfection. Like, I know I'm going to go there sometimes, but to like know that something causes that, and then to every day go there and essentially live in that space, it's just not good for me. And I've seen it enough times. I'm old enough. For some reason, that just really rings true too. Like, I'm old enough. So I don't know, maybe it was a shift in stars, but I just feel like I found these couple of things that really just like boom, like shook me awake. And those were two really big things. And then besides that, also, it's just like so much energy. It's just so much information about so many different people. And definitely, like, I'm an ENFJ personality. Like, I am a hostess. Like, I want to take care of everybody. I want to make sure everything's okay. I touch base with everybody, be social butterfly sort of thing. So it's really hard when I'm on social media to control that, and to step back and to not get so wrapped up in where everybody is. And when I come away, like, I come away from social media feeling like I just read everybody's life story, and it's energetically intense for me. So I'm saying these things because like I think it's important for us to like break down like, and I think that was helpful for me really finding like what are the serious reasons why I need to step away, because like your brain will just talk you into continue doing it. So I want to talk about some things that I noticed as soon as I left social media. I decided to come off of social media in January, and what that meant was I did make a little announcement. I don't necessarily recommend that for everybody. I don't think everyone has to do that, but I did make a little announcement on my social media and just let everybody know that I was going to be taking a hiatus, mostly for family members, so that they would know. I just took all of the apps off of my phone. And for me, that was enough to stay off of social media because I don't have like a laptop or a computer that I'm getting on all the time. It's just through my phone. So I deleted everything off of my phone, and then I just was able to do it cold turkey and just not get on again, So I did that for 3 months. I went without getting on. And I say without getting on, like, kind of not, I want to explain what that means. Like, I didn't get on the app and like scroll through people's pages. One thing that I really found is Facebook especially is really, really hard to avoid because websites will like update themselves more through Facebook than they do on their website. So if I want to go to like a cafe and they're open on weird hours, or if I want to go to like a restaurant and I know that they have specials, like those things you have to check on their Facebook page. So there were things that were like, I feel like bringing me back to social media, and that was really triggering. It was really hard. Definitely the first time that I would like go to Facebook or like see a website, it still like gave me so much anxiety and my heart would be like thumping. Like that was definitely really, really hard to like feel like I had to use those things, even though it was something I was really struggling with. And I also did like a photo dump like after that first month, but I didn't check any of my notifications. I didn't check any messages, and I didn't do any scrolling. I literally just like uploaded the app really quick, uploaded some photos, and then like turned it off. And even that was like so much anxiety. I had like so much anxiety the whole time doing it. But like I also like know there's that part of me that really, really loves sharing and like feels like I don't want to like necessarily totally let go of that because I love content curating. That first month not having it at all, one of the biggest things that surprised me was that I actually started to look at myself differently in the mirror. And I know it sounds crazy and I wish I could explain it like further in a way that made that understandable, but I started to look at myself differently, and I think it's because I wasn't comparing myself so much, and I didn't even realize how much I was comparing myself. So I was really, really surprised by that. Like I started to love myself more. Like it was a good see myself different. I also, of course, was like forced to reach out to people more in real life, which was something that I was wanting, and that did work out well. I definitely called a lot of people that I haven't contacted in a long time, and it was interesting to me like who I thought of calling and contacting. I feel like it wasn't people that I usually would have reached out to through social media, and it was more obvious like who was organically in my life, if that makes sense. I also found myself like enjoying more music and like just in general listening to more music, like going onto Spotify more and like actually making myself more playlists and just searching for more artists. And I definitely found myself on YouTube more, and that was a hard question of whether like YouTube was social media. I didn't count YouTube as social media because I wasn't doing the like hours of scrolling or comparison, and the feeling and the whole vibe and the interaction of YouTube for me and how I use it was really different. And so it for me was okay that I leaned more into YouTube as I was coming out of social media use, because and I don't think everybody does, but I personally, like, I don't have people that I follow and know in real life on YouTube. Not a lot of people that know me or in my circles are on YouTube either. So it's just like this completely different platform. And it was really freeing to have that actually. So I'm really grateful for YouTube through that journey. I also just in general like had so much more time on my hands. And I know that's obvious, I think, like, but honestly, I don't think we realize how much time we will have back in our days if we get off of social media. It is insane how easy it is to spend an hour, 2 hours on there. And then at the end of the day, you look and you're like, I spent 4 hours on Instagram today. What the hell? I started cooking and baking way more, which I was so happy about because I was really, really struggling with cooking for a long time. Like I could not bring myself to make whole meals, you guys. I was making the simplest, the crappiest, of meals. Seriously, like looking back, I am ashamed because, oh, and I'm carrying that energy. Like since then, it's been 6 months and I'm still like making more meals and just like having the energy to do those things. I started cleaning more and like actually able to do the chores that I needed to do because I had the mental energy and I had the focus, I had the time freed up. Like, everything was just like aired out and free and I was like able to do shit just because of not going on social media. I know, it's crazy. I also started learning a second language. My husband and I started learning Greek. I started writing a memoir about my life. Like I started reading more. I read some books. Like these are things I never thought I would do or have the time to do, and I have done them within the last 6 months just of getting off of social media. It is pretty insane. I have been back on social media though for the last month, and thank goodness, at least for this last month, I've been able to come back into it like more relaxed and in a new way. And I want to be really gentle with myself as I say this, and I want to be transparent with you too and just say that like I feel in control now, but I also can see it's a slippery slope. So like I don't judge myself if I fall back into it or if I struggle. Like I know that this is going to be a process, and right now I feel really good about what I'm doing and I'm making this video. Hopefully I can come back to it at some point if I'm struggling and be reminded of all of these things. So what I've been doing is I haven't been keeping the apps on my phone regularly. When I say the apps, I mean Instagram and TikTok specifically. I don't feel the need to ever download Facebook. Actually, I do keep the Facebook Messenger app, and I did keep that during my hiatus time because there were some people that like only communicated that way, and again it like wasn't the scrolling thing. I wasn't able to get into people's lives on Messenger, so yeah, I did have that one during my hiatus. Not having the apps on my phone really makes a big difference. I know that's not revolutionary, a lot of people have found that, but I think it is revolutionary because it really makes it so much easier to not go on those apps if they're not on your phone. I do find myself frustrated still. Like I find myself wanting to post in Instagram stories and to post in general, but I don't want to scroll because I think that's the part that like leaves me on there forever. That's the part that gives me FOMO, and that's the part that like fills my energy with like too much. So I am definitely struggling with like, yeah, my desire to want to post content with like my desire to not want to interact with the app on that like receiving end, you know? And I realized maybe, I don't know, is that messed up? I definitely have a lot of people. Oh, that's like another thing that I'm doing too. I have like, you know, probably a handful or so people that I actually care about and love. And those are the people that like are right at the top of the stories on Instagram anyway. So another thing I try to do is like be honest with myself of like, is this someone's stuff that I like care about and want to see and look at? But also just in general, not letting myself use the app more than once a week. If I'm going to look at people's stories and if I'm going to check my notifications, that needs to only be once a week. I cannot be on there every day or I will get too sucked in, you know? So taking those breaks, like a few, and if once a week is like not often enough, like at least taking 1 to 2 days between the time that you're using social media just like does so much. And then taking those apps off the phone. And if you are going to use them to check your notifications, like, you know, that every 2 day, like just go use the website. And you don't even want to be on there that long if you're just going through the website. So if you're just checking your notifications, that's a really good way to do it too. So I hope this video was helpful, and I know this was a lot of information, but I hope I inspire some of you to just be honest with yourself and just find a new relationship with social media. So bye. Have a good rest of your day. One love.